Welcome back to the second segment where we talk about California schools, UCLA, USC, the rise of Kansas and Kansas State, and the cause of Oklahoma's downfall. So before we start, all I have to say, I have to call out Texas A&M because there's no way in the world that Kansas and TCU is going to be college game days going there before they come to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where we have all this preseason hype on what has happened. And you guys are being mediocre and being overrated because NIL has came in and y'all have bought y'all players. Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher, I'm utterly disappointed in you.
They need to save some of that recruiting money and pay for that buyout.
On me. On my podcast, I did the little panic or peace thing. Panic on Jimbo, bro. Jimbo, I give him, this season is absolutely done. But Jimbo has 2 more seasons. If he's not able to get it going, he's on the hot seat or maybe fired.
But
I don't.
But that buyout is still about $60 million then.
So I mean, it's going to be a lot, bro. But you can't have a number 1 class by the time they're juniors and you're still not doing it. You're still losing 2-3 games a season. That's crazy work. That's insane.
But the thing is, though, it's like, Jimbo, you look like one of the more overrated coaches. In the beginning of the season, y'all were saying this Dabo. Let's not forget. We're like, Dabo this, Dabo that.
I'll pump it on Dabo.
Nah, it was you, Justin.
It was definitely me. I'll chill on Dabo. I even hated on Dabo throughout the first 2-3 weeks. But this last week against NC State kind of opened my eyes a little bit. And to me, like, there's something to be said about a team that still figures out a way to win. Like how Georgia, even though it wasn't a good win, they found out a way to win. And there's a lot of teams that won't do that in that situation. Same thing with Clemson against Wake Forest and NC State. So I have to give them applause for that. They're still the team that they say they are because they have that name on their shoulder, Clemson. So
that's crazy. All right. So now we're going to talk about the rise of the whole state of Kansas. So let's talk about Kansas State first. What do you guys like about Kansas State?
The running game. I mean,
their offense, is ridiculous.
I mean, it starts with Deuce Vaughn, right? I mean, he is that guy, right? And he's been that guy. I mean, he was that guy last year. He ran for 1,400 yards and 18 touchdowns last year. And then you bring in not just a fifth-year player. I know he was at Nebraska, but a fifth-year starter, right? This is Adrian Martinez's fifth year starting at quarterback in first the Big Ten, now the Big 12. And you give him a running back who can open up some running lanes for him, and that's dangerous. I mean, at the end of the day, passing game's not there, but, I mean, if you can't defend the run, you better be worried about them.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Kansas State, running game, great. I would say offensively, they're creative, so it covers up the fact that they don't have a great passing game because they do a lot of short passing and stuff like that. That's kind of like an extension of the run, like it's like extended handoffs and stuff. So I like that about Kansas State. And they look like a team that could challenge for the Big 12 championship because of how the Big 12 looks right now. But overall, their defense is solid. I would like to see it do a little bit better. But this is something I'll say, is that, to me, people always try to get down on the Big 12 and how they don't play in any defense and anything like that. Kansas State has gone out there. Baylor has gone out there and played defense as well. Those two teams have played some pretty solid defense so far this season that I can't sit here and sleep on and act like they aren't really doing anything. So I give them their credit for that. I would like to see them against maybe a tougher opponent outside of the Big 12 to see if that defense still holds up. But as of right now, Kansas State looks like a really solid team. They're finding ways to win even when they let teams score 20 and 30.
I just believe it's like the year. It's like it never fails to me in college football. If you have a good quarterback and just a decent running back, but Deuce Vaughn's better than decent. But if you just have those two like ingredients, your team can win games. But as long as your quarterback has that ick factor, like it's shown with Bryce Young, Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson, like as long as your quarterback has the X factor, you're always in the game. And Adrian Martinez has that.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's so like every time I see a read option between him and Deuce Vaughn, I pray for the linebacker that has to read who gets the ball. Cause like
Exactly.
you don't want to bite too much to Deuce Vaughn, but you also have to respect Adrian Martinez 4.5 speed.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy.
Do you think Adrian Martinez is a legit NFL prospect?
No.
He has to progress better as a passer.
He only got this season left to do that.
I mean, if I see it in the game where he has to pass and he shows me he can, maybe I'll give him like a 4th round flyer. Like
4th round,
take him.
I don't know. To me,
6th, 7th round flyer.
Yeah, I was about to say I
Training
think he'd be a
camp
little
invite.
bit later than that. Yeah, training camp invite really. Because I like Adrian Martinez, but to me, he's nothing but a game manager. He doesn't make mistakes. That's the best thing about him. He's not going to go out there and throw a pick and ruin the game in the worst situation. He's not going to fumble. He's not going to give you a lot of turnovers. If he sees that something isn't open, he's going to use his legs, like plain and simple. And he knows how to go through his progressions decent enough to win them games. So, no, I don't see him being not a drafted QB, especially this year's QB draft class. It's about to be crazy. It's about to be so wild.
Great.
But I do like what I see from Martinez, and like you said, it's like to me like a guy like Hurts. Like he wasn't a great passer, but he knew how to win. He found ways to win. Same way with Tim Tebow. Like he ended up getting drafted higher than he should have because he knew how to win. But when you go back and look at his numbers, he wasn't passing all that great. Like so. There's a lot of guys like that, and Adrian Martinez is one of them. So,
and that's why he wasn't that good at Nebraska, because they got put into a lot of situations where he couldn't just be a game manager and he couldn't just use his legs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I'll be interested to see what happens if they fall behind to a good team and it starts getting later in the game and they have to go make something work. But if they can stay ahead, they're dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see them against TCU in a couple of weeks, for sure.
The TCU and Kansas game this week, I'm really excited because both offenses are very creative. Both have good quarterbacks who can make something happen, and it's just like they just have that never die attitude between both teams. And I just want to see what goes on because like Kansas quarterback Jalen Daniels, at first we all look at the Big 12. We never look at Kansas, but the Kansas culture has completely turned around. Like I think they had their first sellout in like forever.
Yeah, they're on the 3rd straight now. They sold out this weekend, so 3rd straight sellout.
Oh, wow.
3rd straight at Kansas for football. You will never hear that. But now the culture has changed, and now it looks like Kansas can make something shake.
Yeah,
now,
I mean
they had an
interview the other week. I think it was with Jalen Daniels. He said it's the first year that people are coming up to him on campus and recognizing him, right? So,
wow.
that change. I mean, that I can't imagine, right? Stetson Bennett walking around Georgia's campus or Bryce Young walking around Alabama's campus and just not getting recognized. So I think it's. If you're a Kansas fan, you love to see the students buy in.
Yeah, that's really all it takes. Because as long as the students buy in, you're gonna have a rowdy crowd.
Kansas can stay good and go. I'm not gonna say as far because they don't have the resources to get all the way up there, but they can be a very good team if they can keep their coach for a couple more years and really sound up a culture.
Yeah. But
if he goes to Wisconsin, I don't know, because that's what they're talking about. So.
Yeah. Okay, so talk to me about the California schools, UCLA and USC.
Jordan Addison is him. Caleb Williams is also him, and Lincoln Riley is literally showing everybody that it's no difference between him being at Oklahoma and him being at USC. That man know what he's doing. He know how to coach football. He left Oklahoma. Oklahoma's program is turning into shambles as we speak. Not going to speak on that too much, but yeah, they got something good going out there. USC's turned around.
They're on upset watch this week, in my opinion. I think they're a good team, but they're on upset watch. Washington State cannot be slept on.
I said the same thing.
USC is very good, but Washington State's defense is fast, right? And so if you're going to play this USC team, you got to have a fast defense. And they almost took down Oregon. And let's not act like Oregon hasn't been a great team since that Georgia game.
Yeah, and they've been pretty solid since that Georgia game. I agree with that. USC, like he said, on upset watch this week. I still have them when I did my rankings. They're my number 5 team. I have them over Clemson, in my opinion. I think they would beat a team like Clemson today, just offensively. But defensively, they have shown that they can hold stout when they need to. They do struggle at sometimes. You can see where gaps would be if they played a better team, but they just haven't had them fully exposed yet. But I do, I'll say this, I think this Washington State game, they're on upset watch, but I think it will go a lot like that Oregon State game they had. Oregon State was also a team, really good defense. Offense was not all that great. If Caleb Williams is able to get going against that defense, it's going to be a blowout. But if they keep this game low scoring, it's going to be very, very close.
I think for USC, I think Jordan Addison is the best wide receiver in college football. Like when I see him and Caleb Williams, and Jordan Addison makes everything look so easy for him between the route running, catching in traffic, and run after catch. He's one of the top guys to do it. Caleb Williams, you look good. I mean, I can't hate. I'll say this: Lincoln Riley is a great offensive coach, but defensively, he's not really too fond on that. He doesn't care about it. He'll let the defensive coordinator do everything he has to do, but he's way more hands-on on offense than anything. So I'll say he's a great offensive coach. And them playing Washington State, do they go to Washington State?
Let me go back and look. I think it was in USC last time I looked.
It is. Yeah, it's at USC. So
yeah.
Home game for them.
I think I still think it'll be I think Washington State keeps it close though, in my opinion, because their defense is pretty fast. Because when I watched them, I think they upset it. What was it? Mississippi State?
Yeah. No.
When I watched them.
Yeah. Oh, no, it was Washington that upset Mississippi State. Because that was Michael Penix, I had to think.
No. But I remember Washington State did have an upset, and I was like, yeah, they look really good on defense. They're really sound. They're all fast. So I was like, you can't beat speed in today's leagues.
They upset Wisconsin.
State. Yeah, Wisconsin.
Yeah,
they lost by 3 to Oregon.
Oh yeah, stopping Braylon Allen.
How good is that Wisconsin team though?
Yeah,
good running game, but their coach did just get fired. I mean, you don't get fired if you're having a good season. There was more to just a season than that for their coach to be fired, but
I thought it was an overreaction by Wisconsin's athletic department.
Well, it's more just a season. They went apparently, allegedly, right? I'm not plugged in or anything. They went 8 months last year without a recruiting department. I mean, you can't ignore recruiting. There's been something that came out that said they had a recruit come to the game and nobody talked to him. Nobody knew who he was. Nobody
no coaches, nothing.
Nothing. So
what?
I think that reaction was not based on this year. I mean, of course, this year ain't going great for him, but if this year had gone good for him, he might still be there. But other than that, I mean, I don't think it was just based off this year.
I ain't gonna lie. That's crazy. I've never heard that. That's wild.
Yeesh.
Oh my god, that's wild. But okay, for UCLA, DCR is that guy.
He is that
that's-
guy. Oh
that was
God, he's
my
that
main
guy.
point
Thomas
on
Robinson.
UCLA.
Dorian Thompson Robinson is what we thought Tate Martell would be.
Dang.
He's doing everything Tate Martell should have did while he was at Ohio State.
Yeah.
And
And finally, we see Chip Kelly like being successful
Just
because we
being
all
good,
remember
yes.
we all remember his Oregon days. We all remember how good he was. Now it's finally showing at UCLA, but they have no fan support.
none. I mean,
Mhm.
it's bad because it's just such the way USC is, and the way USC and UCLA, they're they're in LA. I mean, the school has so much more draw than the football program, and the only reason USC is able to have a decent fan showing is it comes down to having a stadium on campus, right? The Rose Bowl is one of the best stadiums in the country, but for a UCLA student, it's a hour drive depending on the traffic. I mean, it's not, you can't wake up and walk to the game. You have to drive 1 hour to get out there. So having that stadium on campus, I mean, they don't have the room, but having a stadium on campus would change things for UCLA.
Yeah.
But one thing to point out, UCLA is 8-0 in their last 8 games. So their winning streak isn't just this season.
Yeah, that's what's crazy.
But
At first, when I think of the Pac-12, I thought of this year. I thought of Utah. I thought of USC, and I thought of Oregon. I would never thought of UCLA being this good.
I thought they would be decent, but not 5-0 coming into this Utah game.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't think that they would be able to beat a team like Washington with Michael Penix Jr. being over there. Looking to me, in my opinion, he looked like a top 4, top 5 Heisman candidate guy. And they went out there and he threw 2 picks and it didn't look great. So that UCLA defense, like, I got to give a round of applause. Like, they did pretty well out there. And then DTR is like, man, like, he makes it happen. Like, I don't know how to describe it.
DTR
Like, he's
is
just crazy.
Okay, so let's talk about Oklahoma's downfall. Like, what do you guys think led to this?
I have a few things. Number one, I don't fully trust Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel is okay. He did get concussed in that game, which is why he had to sit out the rest of the game. And then I think partly is part of the reason that they lost that game. But they were getting beat before that. Their offense was not looking good. Their defense was not looking good. Brent Venables is finally starting to look flustered on the sideline of like, whoa, I got the hands of an entire college team. Like, I have the whole team on my hands, not just the defense that I can readjust and everything like that. So I think he just has to get, honestly, adjusted to coaching a full team, offense and defense. And then, 2, he has to get his athletes in there. As long as he's still working under the athletes that they had. I'm forgetting their last coach. I just completely mind blanked. Oh, Lincoln Riley. Yeah. Yeah. So as long as he's still working under the defensive players that Lincoln Riley was recruiting, which defensively wasn't great, Brett Venables is going to struggle. Until he starts getting those recruits that he was getting at Clemson on defense, then he will start having a good time and stuff like that. But also, I don't know. I don't see what everyone sees in Dylan Gabriel. I think he's an okay quarterback. I think he's a little bit above a game manager. He is still relatively young, but so he has time. So I give him a little bit of time, but right now I think those are the biggest things I see with Oklahoma. But the thing that's scary is it's only going to get worse. Y'all about to go into the SEC. It's not going to get any better. Like it's only about to get worse. So I feel for Brett Venables. Like he got to figure it out pretty fast. Like,
I mean, the biggest problem is he's supposed to be a defensive coach, right? He was a defensive coordinator. Now he's a head coach. He's supposed to be a defensive coach. He gave up 55.
that's crazy.
And, I mean, if that's supposed to be your thing, you can't do that. If you didn't win because of the offense and it looked like you weren't sure what to do, okay, but anytime, and it's similar to Kirby Smart, right? He came over as a defensive coordinator. Kirby Smart wasn't giving up 55. He might lose some games, right? But it was mostly because He might have been struggling, just the offense just wasn't there, but the defense was never giving up 55. I mean, that's where my worry is if they had just lost, whatever. But I mean, what TCU had to have almost 600 yards of offense.
Yeah, it was insane. 41 and then
Yeah.
55 in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
Nah, I just think Brett Venables is in a Kirby Smart-esque situation, but worse talent, or I want to say worse resources, because Georgia's like top 10 resources, but in a worse predicament in a way, because he's having to have a transfer quarterback with the 5th-year senior, so he's gone after this year, so they have to start recruiting in like multiple different areas, and plus like this is his first year having the key, because at Clemson, Brent Venables did such a great job on defense. We thought he was capable of taking over a team. But now he has to get adjusted to understand, like, oh, I have to, like, coach both ways, and I have to understand how things go for both sides. So I just think he has to do a better job of that. But it's only his first year. So I don't want any overreactions. Like, yeah, it might be a down year for Oklahoma, but I think he'll whip it back in shape and for next season. But when he gets to SEC play, I just pray for him and his family because he's gonna be stressed out.
It's just
Honestly,
it depends. It just depends what your expectations with Oklahoma going forward are. If you're expecting them to get in the playoff like they did under Lincoln Riley,
No.
and they're about
God.
to move to the SEC, no.
God, no.
But if you're expecting them to look like Mark Richt's Georgia,
W
Now-
take.
okay.
You
now
think?
that now it could happen, it could not, but it just depends what your expectations are. If you're an Oklahoma fan, I mean, you just have to slow the roll. Playoff
Exactly.
kind of looks out of the question. I mean,
You gotta
definitely this
realize
year,
that
but
right now, and even the next maybe 3 years, you might not be competing for that championship like they have for the past 4 or 5. So
Yeah.
and it depends what scheduling the SEC goes to when they come into the conference. Like if they go to pods, who's in your pod? Who do you have to play every year? If somehow
I
that
hope
I
they
doubt
do
it, but if the SEC kept divisions right and they got thrown in the West and Alabama stayed there, I mean, it wouldn't be good for Oklahoma. It would.
yummy. I would love that.
That would be a sad day for Oklahoma fans.
I would
No,
absolutely love that.
no, that would be bad. That would be so bad. Okay, so do we have any newcomers in the Heisman race right now?
I don't think nobody's seriously challenging.
Yeah, I will tell you right now, Stetson dropped out.
Oh, he did definitely, but
And y'all
but-
were nah, you can't just blow that over because y'all were hyping him so much. There's no way.
No, you said that. Don't start that because this is what I said. I said this is good. This, that, and third. Stinson had a great start, but now in the last couple of stretches, yes, Stinson has not played up to par, but we cannot fully blame him for his mistakes.
And
We
I
cannot do
don't.
that.
I mean, I wouldn't
But-
say he's fully out of it. He's definitely a long shot, but I mean, if we're talking, he's not in that top. What now? It's 3 group of
Yeah.
Bryce, Stroud, and Caleb Williams. But if we're talking like, I mean, because that's all you can talk with the Heisman right now. Any newcomer is a long shot, right? Anybody besides those 3 is a long shot. And so, if we're talking long shots, I mean, does DJ Ukulele get any look, any love? I mean, that's 2 back-to-back weeks, good
That's-
performances, good wins. I mean,
Yeah, two ranked opponents back to back. I can't deny that. If I'm ranking, it's still C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, but he has the potential to drop out not playing this week. And it's like I hate to say this, but like Hendon Hooker might be 3rd,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy. But I don't even hate to say it. It's just like I hate to say it because I came on here and I hated on him. I won't lie. Like before the season started, I was definitely like, "Yo, who is Hendon Hooker?" No cap. He
That's
definitely
not-
woke me up.
that's-
After that Florida game, I was like, "Yo, like he's kind of crazy." No cap. Yes.
biggest thing for Hooker is he still has to go. Do they play at Alabama this year, or is it at home?
They got
I
a
don't
tough
know.
schedule, man. They got Alabama,
It's
Georgia, like
Yeah, he still has to go play Alabama. He has to play Georgia, and he still has to play Kentucky, right? I mean, Kentucky's not exactly who some people thought they were, but they're still a good football team. I mean, he's still got I think his 3 hardest challenges are still coming up. So I don't know.
Yeah.
He has to beat 2 and phenomenally play well in 1 if he loses.
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly.
Because
He can't. If he loses, I mean, and I think he will. If he loses to Bama and Georgia, you aren't.
Done.
It's not happening. Yeah.
Yeah, he's done.
Because
Yeah,
Stroud and Bryce Young probably don't lose in the regular season, and USC might not either. So
Yeah. By
Yeah.
the looks
Oh,
of it,
yeah, Caleb Williams is third. That's, man, yeah. Hitting Hooker
But-
fourth.
but by the looks of it, I think it's going to CJ.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so too. They don't like to give Heisman to the same guy 2 years in a row. And
Yeah,
CJ
yeah.
Stroud hasn't struggled at any point during this season to me. Even in that Notre Dame game, Notre Dame didn't score a point after half, and CJ Stroud took over. So
Yeah. It's just I want to see who has. I think it might even come down to between Stroud and Williams because they aren't going to want to give it to Bryce Young again if they can help it.
Mhm.
Which of them has the best? I mean, because I assume their stats are going to be similar, but which of them has the better Heisman moment? Right? Which one goes on the road, comes from behind, leads a game-winning drive? Like Bryce Young
Yeah.
did at Auburn last year. I mean, which one of them does that? When they play Michigan, does C.J. Stroud throw for 404 touchdowns? I mean,
yeah.
I think that's what it'll come down to.
And I think Caleb Williams, you could argue he already had somewhat of a Heisman moment. That last play against Oregon State in that last minute or so, I don't know how he fit that ball in there. And that won them the game, honestly.
Yeah, I say Caleb has more opportunities than CJ because when we look at Ohio State schedule,
They're
what is
going
it?
to whoop everybody.
Yeah, and then the only game we circle is the Michigan game.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only game we'll say, oh, this was CJ's Heisman moment. If he blows out Michigan, give it to him. But I think Caleb still has Utah, he still has Oregon, and then he still has UCLA. And like all those are great, capable teams. And if they go behind, they come back and win. Say Caleb had another Heisman moment there. So it all just depends on how things go for everyone's season. Well, that's wrap up segment number 2 for college football. We're gonna go to this or that and the predictions for this week games.
Mm-hmm.
Peace. Ooh.